So I was confused at that time. I apologize. My video had cut off on me, and so I had to make a part two to it. But yeah. So I was confused at that time. I really was. I didn't know if should I pursue but I didn't have the same urges to be with guys. Like I didn't like I want to sleep with a guy or lay down with a guy and be with him. Like when I learned how to masturbate at 13 from some guy in the back of a church, which is crazy. I learned about masturbation from a guy who probably was in his 20s or 30s at 13 in the back of a church. So my life has been always been crazy and weirded out. You think your life has been crazy? My life has been crazy. At 13 years old, I learned about masturbation from an older man outside in the back of a church. Okay, just let you know that. So at 16, I didn't know. I didn't know. Should I masturbate to a man? Should I masturbate to a female? I didn't know what was going on, but I know I love the vagina. I know that for a fact, though. But it was crazy. Before I get back to that, at a young age, I I, I knew that I was gonna smoke weed before I knew what I wanted to be when I grow up. When you around family and family do what they do, they all grown, but I used to smell it and I love the sensation. I love the smell of it, and I knew I was gonna smoke before I even knew what I was gonna be when I was gonna grow up. Everything else was just talent. I just knew how to do it. I knew I was gonna smoke some weed. But getting back to that, um, so I didn't know. So it was frustrating. I remember I had this girl on her name, but I fought for her in high school because some guy was messing with her, and I got into a fight. I got hit with a chair, bust my head open, and all that. Like it was crazy. And one day I remember bringing her to park where we live at. There's like a little park inside the complex area, and I'm kissing on her, sucking on the titties, whatever. And I wanted to bring it to my house, but I was scared because I thought my mom was gonna let me bring a girl into my house. Later on, years later, when I told my mom that that happened, she's like, "Man, you could have brought her upstairs to chill out and everything. I would have let her come upstairs, and I don't think she would let me have sex with her, but who knows? Because my mom gave me some freedom, a little bit more freedom, I guess, because I was a boy than she probably would without my sister. But so that happened, but we didn't have sex. So I was, still, doing my thing, running the streets, getting high, you know, masturbating all the damn time, and just trying to figure out who I was. So when I got to Job Corps at 19, I ended up meeting this girl, Boricua. I won't put her name out there, but I thought that this was it. That I was going to have this girl, and she was going to be my lady, and she was going to be my wife, and we gonna have kids. And I lost my virginity to her. And it was kind of crazy about that, as I was good at oral sex before I even really like delved into sex. Like I never gave a woman oral sex before, and that was the first time. And by God, I was pretty good at it, and became a master. But we had sex, and that happened, and it's crazy because she ended up going back. She was before she met me. I met her job. Before she met me, she had dealt with this older guy, and because I had left out of Job Corps before her, and she probably was afraid, didn't know what was going on, and whether or not we was going to end up being together, or I was going to leave her or whatever. She ended up going back to the guy. So that day, that rejection, that started off my escapade of being with a whole bunch of females. And it's crazy. I always had that love inside of me. I've always been a gentle person, but during that time is when even though every girl I've been with always had the potential to be that Mrs. Burgess, I was running through them. And it was crazy because when I was young, I had a family member who got killed, right? He was selling drugs and for the Supreme team, and he got killed. And I'm a very family orientated person, and it hurt me to my core when I found out that my cousin got killed. And it was like it was nothing I could do. See, I was always so family orientated that I mean, when it came down to me, and I was young, you probably could jump me, but when it came down to my family, I wasn't having it. All bets were off, which was kind of weird. But it hurt me to the core that somebody killed my cousin, and I couldn't do nothing about it. You know, I was helpless. So for a long time, I stood away from drugs as far as like wanting to sell it. Um, but when I got in my 20s, and my mom's always gave me tough love all my life, but when I, got old enough, she was like, I ain't having that. You want to be grown, you want to do this, you don't want to do that, and that and the third. You got to fend for yourself. You got to go out there and be a man. And she said that at 16, 14, 15, as far as working, because I've been working since then, but really start to like, yo, you gotta go out there. So I've worked, always kept jobs here and there, be on a job 6 months here, 8 months here, 10 months there, and stuff like that. But when I turned like 23, is when I started really selling drugs, and it's crazy. I guess you mature to certain things. I remember being in my 20, 21, 22, and holding my cousin down while he did his thing, and seeing. I mean, I seen so much drugs, guns, vests. I ran from my first shootout when I was 7 years old, 8 years old, and being living in the plaza, and you know, kind of matured into that situation where it was like, I had to do what I had to do. So, I learned how to, through friends, I learned how to hustle weed, and I learned about, you know, cooking crack, and I learned about, you know, digital skills and all types of this craziness. And um, that's when I was out there in the streets and, doing my thing. And things went sour. I've been through a lot of rough times in that thing. I'm not going to get too much in that story, but I will tell you one story though that stuck with me, that really hurt me even to this day. I had got to kind of like a beef in a sense with one of my guys that I grew up with. I won't mention no names, but we ended up getting locked up for a couple of days. Well, not a couple of days, it's like a day. And I was mad at him because I felt like he had put me in a situation that kind of didn't have to do with me. It was his work, it was his stuff, it was his thing, and you didn't even like when you dealing with something like that. The person's supposed to tell you this is what's going down, this is what's going on. I'm kind of hot. You understand this can happen. So I was upset, man. I was pissed the hell off. You know what I'm saying? And by the grace of God, to this day, by the grace of God, they let me go. I guess later on he kind of like owned up to his shit, but at the time we was in the cell. I'm getting charges. I'm like, what's this for? Like conspiracy and all this other stuff, and I'm like, what's that about? So I'm tight. So when I get out, they let me go. They're like, yo, stay. Judge like, yo, stay away from him and stay far away from him. And if I ever, we catch you, it's on. So I did. You know what I'm saying? I ain't write no statements on homeboy. I ain't tell nobody what he did. My name ain't connected to nothing that homeboy did when it came to that case or any other case that he may have caught, because that's what I was brought up on. You don't tell. So I got out that situation. I came home. And I came to the block and I stole his gun, and I got this gun in my hand, and I got power. Yeah, I'm vulnerable because I'm like, man, if I do something with it, I know I could be sent to jail. So he comes back, he gets out on bail, whatever. He knows that the gun is gone. So he's like, man, what up with the gun? And I'm like, yeah, I don't got it, man. Yo, what up with my clothes, yo? You got my clothes? And he like, he ain't got my clothes. And so we end up getting into a scuffle. I snuffed him. He came out the store, came at me with a bat, swinging on me with a bat, hit me in the head with a bat. Luckily, he ain't bust my head open or I ain't start bleeding or whatever case may be. So I ran off, and he thought I was gonna get the gun. So he sped off in his car. He left. So he came back with his family, and because I hit him so hard with so much force, ferocity, that he had a softball on the side of his face, like coming out of his face. So huge. I never saw nothing like that happen. I never knew that I could hit somebody that hard. I've had fights and and stuff like that. And a lot of my fights were stoppages, as I got older. But I never knew I could somebody that hard. But look, long story short, I had ended up selling a gun to a friend of mine, homeboy of mine. God rest the dead. Feud, man, may he rest in peace. But I ended up selling it to Feud, and situation was, he was in the he had was his peoples, and his peoples was playing with the gun. I didn't know the gun had a hair trigger on it. He got it dialed up on the trigger, and I didn't know. And they was him and his boy and his boy's brother was playing with the gun, and his boy brother was playing Russian roulette. They was smoking dust, and his boy shot his brains out. And I knew the dude too, and that stuck with me. That stuck with me, and it hurt me to this day. You know that he died. That I was a part of that, and I blame myself for that. I blame myself for that for a long time because I was like, if I didn't sell him that, he probably wouldn't be here. I mean, he'd probably be here, and maybe I wouldn't be here. Maybe I've been locked up for shooting one of my good friends, one of my best friends. You know what I'm saying? And so that really stuck with me. So I was still in the streets, and I was still selling and doing what I was doing, and I ended up having fallout with two other friends of mine that that I was hustling with. So one day, one day, I go in the crib because I was staying with him at the time, my homeboy and his baby mother, and we all hustling together. Me, him, my homeboy, his brother is hustling somewhere else, but he's staying there. And I go into my dirty clothes bag. I've never been one to really be, you know, I ain't a person that does robbery. I did at one point in time. I was 17 years old, and I was influenced to break in somebody's house and commit larceny. And but I wasn't really one to, because I'm not really confrontational. I'm more like a finisher. Like if I have to fight, then I'll do it, and I'm going to make it happen, Captain. But I'm not one to go out there, so I'm not one to go ahead and be taking people's stuff like that. I mean, I have my little weed fixations. I go in there and take my mom's stuff, my father's stuff, and get yelled at. But I wasn't big on really taking people's stuff like that. So uh, I look in my dirty clothes bag, and there's mad money in there. And I know this is my dirty clothes bag. I know that ain't my money because all profits and associated with the crew went into a pot where my homie kept it. And so I seen the money there, and I was like, I'm not even gonna take all of it. I took a couple of dollars to get me to where I needed to go, New York, and I left everything there. I left my poetry. I left my jewelry if I had. I left my clothes. I left all types of valuable things to me. Reading material that I had, all types of stuff I left. I just left everything to start over because I was tired of that life. I was tired of being used. I was tired of using people. I was tired of hurting. I was tired of fighting. I was tired of, doing things. I felt that I was on the brink of killing people or hurting people that I love, that I got love for, that I would take the shit off my back and give to them, and I would go out there and hurt somebody for them. And I had to leave because I felt like, I know people mothers, I know people grandmothers. These are my homeboys. These are the people I grew up with before we even had those inspirations. Like, like Juice, like the crew, like this is the crew. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to leave it alone. And so, I had to choose another path and another life. And I've always been a spiritual being. I'll get into that in another video about my spiritual path and where that started from. But that's where it came to. And those instances, those sexual encounters that I had, both as a child, both male and female, and growing up, I left a lot of that on my chest, and it made me angry. It made me angry that my father left. It made me angry that my mom's, what I'm saying, would take her pain out on me. It made me angry that my sister had a baby, and I wasn't her baby brother no more. It hurt me that my mother and my father moved to Connecticut and moved me away from my family. It made me angry that I had to fight everybody to prove that I was man enough to be around certain people. I was man enough and to be in the hood and I could survive. It hurt me. So I had a lot of anger and resentment towards a lot of things in life. And, I have to purge that in order for me to become a better person. In order for me I have to purge it. So now today, I'm yearning for to be in a relationship with a queen that loves me for me and wants to grow and have a family. But I have to take care of self first. I have to take care of me first, and I have to love me more every day, and know that that whatever anybody else did, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. I'm strong enough. I'm brave enough. There's no difference between me and the person sitting up there in jail doing 30 years, but choices. I chose not to do what they did. I chose to take a step back and rethink things, but I held on to that pain for a long time, so I'm releasing it today. You know, I love females. I do. I love men, but I don't love them in the same way I love females. I don't have that urge to be laying down with a man. But I have that sensitivity enough to respect that if that's what you do, that's what you do. I'm not going. I'm not going to condemn you to no hell. I'm not going to send you to no fiery flame. That BS that they programs that they told us about. You know what I'm saying about God and all this other stuff. What you do is what you do. I have respect for people that can come out the closet and be who they are. Like that takes bravery in this world we living in. You know, so I'm just coming to y'all and just trying to be honest and truthful and let you know that, man, I ain't always strong. I ain't always the person that, you know, I'm vulnerable. At times I feel weak, but in my weakness is going to become a strength. It's going to become a strength by me always sharing to y'all, you know, and being honest. And if you got a comment you want to comment on in underneath this video, do so. If you want the truth you want to share it. I ain't holding back nothing. Cause ain't nothing nobody can do can hurt me. Ain't nothing nobody can say can hurt me. Cause I already hurt myself enough. It's like that Eminem shit, man. You can tell me all these things, but I done told myself that 50 million times already. So what you can tell me? Ain't nothing. Ain't nothing for me to go out there and act retarded and stupid. But I'd rather show y'all love. I'd rather spread love. I'd rather be the strength that everybody needs. That they can say, man, I'm gonna be like that. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm gonna be better than that. I'm gonna do it even better. Because at the end of the day, ain't nobody gonna do nothing for you but you. And the only love you need at the end of the day is the love you need for yourself and the love that God has for you. So on that note, I thank y'all for listening. Peace, blessings, and all that good stuff. Because at the end of the day, we're gonna make it happen, Captain. And I want y'all to make it happen too. With love, not war, not fear, not resentment, but understanding. And we out here. Peace.